going back to Punks on Film, are we? We do Punks on Film?
I think
Punks
that's
on Film. That music intro is so good for Punks on Film. It's a band called Animals and Children. I may or may not be the guitarist and singer.
That is Alex's band.
Shameless self-promotion. If you're on YouTube, you got to do it.
Yes.
Punks on Film. This was my segment when we started this show, and it's something that, I may be one of the top 20 utmost authorities of punk rock movies on film at this point because of this show. I saw a deep fucking cut the other day. I've never even heard of this fucking movie. It is called The Runnin' Kind.
Okay, yeah.
Either of you ever hear?
No, I had never heard of it before you brought it up, yeah.
So The Runnin' Kind is a snapshot. Is it a great movie? It's not necessarily a great movie. Is it an amazing fucking snapshot of like Los Angeles, 1988 underground punk rock scene? It is probably the best visual of that exact location. This was written by a local punk rock mainstay. Her name is Pleasant Gaiman. She was a writer for like Rolling Stone. She did a magazine called Lobotomy in the 70s. Her roommate would have been the guitarist from the Cramps and the lead singer of the Go-Go's. She is fucking LA punk rock ground zero. She wrote this about her cowpunk, like alt country band she had at the time called the Screamin' Sirens. And they are actually the band in this movie.
Oh, cool.
So it stars that dude who I should have his name and stuff like that out because I'm doing a show right now. David Packer as Joey Curtis. As far as I can tell, his biggest credit is he played one of the emergency room doctors in RoboCop. Sick facts.
Okay.
So he's like a yuppie about to be a lawyer, take over his dad's firm, post-graduating college, midlife crisis is what's going on, I guess, essentially. Okay. And he and his buddies end up at this rock club on the outskirts of town, and he sees this drummer girl, Bree Howard, who mega babe, and she's moving to LA to go take on the dream.
Okay.
And he takes a look around and is like, I'm going to go fucking find that girl, Thunder. I'm going to LA. Disgraceland in Hollywood, that is a super famous fucking punk house. That is actually where Pleasant, the writer of this movie, lived. Many of bands were hosted there. Billy Idol stayed there. DOA stayed there. All the punks lived in the thing. That's their... It is so LA. They're at Pink's Hot Dogs right now. And anyone that's not in LA doesn't understand the significance of Pink's Hot Dogs. But Pink's Hot Dogs, it's the hippest, coolest fucking hot dog in all of Hollywood.
Yeah.
So he moves to LA. He tracks down he stays with some family. He tracks down the girl. The other family doesn't know where he's in. This is the late 80s. So you could just, if you didn't have no one had a cell phone, no one had a pager, you could just disappear. If you were just not in the room with somebody, they had no idea where you were. They hire a private detective. They're looking for him.
Oh, James Cromwell too. Holy shit.
There's some Rosie Flores, who you may know if you're into rockabilly at all. She's had a pretty successful solo career. There is a young Juliette Lewis playing the lead's brother. And she's only in it for a couple of minutes. Obviously, those scenes are the best acted scenes in the movie for sure.
Yeah.
But
it looks like a big budget punk movie.
So they filmed it as an indie, but somehow it actually got released by Universal fucking Pictures.
Wow.
And I have no idea how that happened.
Dude, well, it's Susan Strasberg's in it, and James Cromwell wasn't probably super famous, and Susan Strasberg probably wasn't as famous in the 80s.
Is she the mom from Charles in Charge?
She's from
Charles in Charge.
Yeah, I mean, she's from the 60s, so she was in the psychedelic movies of the 60s and into the 70s. I forget the one the one where she. Either way, she's in one of the psychedelic movies that Roger Corman made in the 60s.
This is definitely Roger Corman-y on brand. It's definitely B movie status, but with a somehow it got a big release, but it fell through the cracks. This has never been on streaming. This has never had a DVD release.
Wow.
In my research, I can find one VHS copy for sale in Canada. This is a fucking deep cut. But really? What else that means is that it's available on YouTube for free because nobody gives a shit about this movie. So you can just log on to YouTube right now and watch this in all of its cheesy glory. But this movie, it's got like a romance, but Pleasant is that blonde right there. She's the one that wrote this film. And she didn't want to do the cookie cutter, she wanted the real, like, okay, band's going on the road. Like, the love isn't going to make it. Guy ends up back going home at the end of the movie. He doesn't live there. But essentially, he runs into town, sees this all-girl band that doesn't have a drummer. He's like, oh, I know a drummer. And he also happens to be a lawyer, as I mentioned. So he becomes their manager and is looking at their shitty contract. Like, it all starts because he's at the recording studio and is like, 50%? What's that about? And they're like, oh, I didn't see that. Oh, you're our manager now. Fucking awesome. But why this movie is so cool is it is filmed in the underground of LA with someone who had full access to the underground of LA.
Yeah.
Leslie Damon, like I said, she was booking shows at the Whiskey, putting bands up. So it is filmed at Club Lingerie, which was a super famous club. That's like essentially ground zero for like Porno for Pyros and fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers and Fishbone, like those, what was going on that wasn't the glam rock on the Sunset Strip, because that's what's taking over at this point in the mainstream.
Yeah.
So we have actual live footage of Fishbone in this. We have footage of the band Tex and the Horseheads, which Act probably is familiar with.
No, I don't know
Jones.
No, I do not.
They're just before, they're essentially creating alt country right now. They're mixing the punk rock ethics with the country, vibe and roots.
Okay.
Which made way for, some pretty successful careers later on in life. But it's filmed at the coolest places. It has some of the cool. It's got TSOL during their really weird phase where they have a different singer and they're a glam rock band. Joe Wood, he's actually one of the stars of the movie. It takes place at Raji's, the 00 Club, like some super historic places that aren't documented in that Penelope Spheris scene.
Yeah.
We know so much more about the early 80s LA punk rock scene because there were some really good documentaries about it. This is kind of any documentaries going on were about Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue. Like, this was the other category. So it's kind of lost. I've been reading about these places my whole life and I had no idea what they actually look like.
Yeah.
You've got cameos from El Duce from The Mentors. You got cameos from Rodney Bingenheimer, Rodney on the Rock. The RUNNIN kind. I'd never heard of it. I had a good time.
It's wild.
Yeah. So it's on YouTube. Get it while you can.
The RUNNIN kind.
Yeah.
And this is probably the most that exists about it on the internet now is this.
Is this Film Villains episode.
This is where we're going to get references for it for the rest of time.
Dude, you got some mad punks on film knowledge, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Alex is like a real punk, bro.
Alex on film.
Alex
on film. I'm going to off, when
Punks on
Film
Film's
Villains
gonna
ends
off-brand,
up aging out because Act's going to, Act's in his 60s over here and he's going to give up soon. The show will just be Punks on Film at that point.